Hey, what's up guys? It's Brian from J&P Cycles. Today we're going to show you how to replace the chain on your motorcycle. We have a 3D chain here and we're going to throw it on this Kawasaki Z900. Let's get started. Now the first thing we want to do is break off your old chain. Now there's two ways to do it. One, if you have a cutting wheel and a compressor, you can cut right through the chain and take it off. For most of us that don't have compressors in our garage, suggest using a chain breaker tool. Now this is a Bikemaster available online and it's really easy. So there's just a bolt that goes through here and a pin that pushes out the rivets on your chain. This is what we're going to use for this install. So with your chain breaker tool tightened up on your chain, we're simply going to push that pin all the way through. A helpful little hint too is to put the bike in gear, that way your wheel doesn't spin. Now once you feel that this get really loose, that means that the pin's pushed all the way through. Now you can just undo everything and back this bolt out. Here's the pin that we just pushed through. Now the chain can completely break apart. Now before we install the new chain, let's go back to our adjuster blocks here and move these closer. The reason why we want to do that is your new chain is going to stretch a little bit, and we want to allow it the most room possible to allow that stretch. So for this bike it's going to be a 10mm wrench. We just need to loosen up the retainer nut here and then screw these bolts all the way in. Now you can see on the swing arm here there's usually these little lines notched into there, and there's this vertical line here on this block. These are going to be our kind of angles of measurement for our adjuster here. So I'm going to try and move this all the way into that first line. With your adjusters all the way in, you're going to want to loosen up that axle nut so you can slide the wheel back and forth. Now with the axle nut free, you can see how the wheel easily slides up and down. Make sure to match both sides. With your adjustment block set, now just feed the chain all the way through. Just be careful, watch your fingers that way you don't pinch it around your front or rear sprocket. So we wanted to get it to this point because now we can measure our chain and cut it to length. Now this is kind of an important part, and I've learned it the hard way through the years. Once you have the chain pretty wrapped tight around your sprockets, you want to pay close attention here. Now when we cut these, you get one master link, and a master link is the piece that connects both open ends. Now when we cut this, we want to make sure we don't do it too short. I'd rather cut it too long because I can adjust that back out. If I'm too short, well, you need to buy some more parts for your chain. So when I look at this, a master link is going to contain this part here. So this is kind of like a connecting piece. Keeping this tight, I'm actually going to want to cut right through this link here. It looks like I'd want to go there, but I guarantee that's going to be too tight. So I'm just going to go what looks right and go one more link here and remove this. That way, this will now be my new connecting link, and this is what the chain will look like. So I'm going to cut right here. So in order to shorten and cut this chain, we're going to go back to that first process. We're going to break out our chain breaker tool again and push this pin out. Now to connect our two open pieces of the chain, we're going to use the supplied master link. Before you install the master link, make sure you put an O-ring on the inside of the this plate here. O-rings are going to go on both sides, but we want to get this side in first. Now you simply just won't be able to squeeze this on with your hands. So you just kind of want to put it in place there, and then we're going to take our chain breaker tool, install the assembly pieces, and put this back on. Now all we're doing right now is pushing the face of the chain and the back together. So really we're just pushing these pins through. We're not flattening the pin faces out yet. All right, now that we got these pins pretty well through this face here, we need to do a quick pin swap on our tool. And what this is going to do, it's going to flatten these rivets out to match the other links. Now with your master link fully installed, now we need to readjust your chain. You can see there's quite a bit of slack here. So we're going to kind of reverse the process earlier and move these spacing blocks back. Now we really want an inch of deflection in our chain. So as we move back, keep an eye and play with this to see how tight you are. Let's start pushing these back and gauge where we're at. So as you can see, as we adjust this, you can actually watch the chain visibly move. Now, like I said before, I'm going to give this one about an inch of deflection, but check your manufacturer manual or specs. Now, this one actually has the information on the swing arm here, so every bike's a little different, so make sure you check that before you fully tighten. On this bike too, we need to match both sides, so I need to match my right side adjuster to my left side to make sure everything's straight and aligned. All right, now that we have everything retightened and aligned correctly, we want to lube the chain. You can see this kind of waxy film that's already on there. That's just there to preserve it while it's in the box. You'll want to use a good chain lube, or like I'm using the Maxima Chain Guard here, to make sure that we really lubricate all the O-rings and all the bearings that are in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually spray it on the sprocket tooth side, right in here, and spin the wheel. It's okay if you get too much, we'll wipe off the excess. Just make sure you get a good spray. That way you're coating all of those little bearings and metal on metal parts. Like I said, I'm not too worried about getting too much on there because we're going to get rid of some of the excess. I'm just going to kind of place a rag on the chain down here lightly. Again, watch your fingers because when I spin this wheel here, you don't want to get it caught in the sprocket or in the chain. So let's just get rid of some of that excess, that way it doesn't splash up on you or splash up on the bike and create a mess. So there you have it. Now you know how to do your own motorcycle chain at home. I do highly recommend getting a great chain breaker tool. Now we offer the Bikemaster one at jpcycles.com. Same thing with the chain and chain lube. It's a good idea too to get some chain lube and chain cleaner for future maintenance. Now once you get riding, check this about at your 500 mile and 1,000 mile markers, because this is going to tend to stretch a bit. You already know how to adjust it, now get out and ride.